already focused, they've already planned out, mapped out the route that they're going to take, but it's so hard to get there. And sometimes along this route that you have envisioned, you find yourself being in storms and don't understand why I'm in a storm. I'm living the best I know how to live. God, I pay my tithe. I do whatever is required of me, predicated upon the word, that the word has a validation. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, but I found myself in a storm. Now, these mariners were very smart. They were not uneducated people. They could discern the weather, and if the weather and the clouds were bad, they would not sail, because they understood how the sea would toss them. And many times they had to lose their cargo to lighten the load of the ship, to keep the ship from sinking when it was being tossed to and fro, because it had great weight, and the center of the ship was always vulnerable. Are you hearing what I'm saying in this church today? So they take upon a man by the name of Jonah, not knowing anything about this man. They take upon this man. Ain't it something how we will put up with certain folk because they pay the fare?
Come on. Yes, God.
Don't know anything about him. Don't know what he's running from. Don't know his history. Don't know his past. Don't know his family tree, his life, or anything. But as long as you got what it takes the fare to pay, you can ride on this ship. I come to tell somebody that the storm you're going through is not your fault. The storm you're going through is because you got a Jonah on board. Is anybody here? The reason there's a storm in your house is you got a Jonah on board at your house. The reason there's a storm on your job is you got a Jonah on board at your job. You ain't got to get with me. Sometimes Jonah in the bed next to you. You ain't got to get with me. Let me see, can I help you? Jonah will always cause a storm to be in your life.
Come on, Apostle.
Now, what causes a storm to come in my life? And I'm living right and doing right. What causes a storm to come in my life? Because Jonah is trying to run from two things. Jonah is running from the purpose of God, and Jonah is running from the presence of God.
Yeah.
Is there anybody you connected with that's running from the presence of God because they know in the presence of God it's required you got to live a certain way? And I would rather run from his presence and forget about his purpose in order to do what I want to do. But let me tell you something, I come to preach today. You might run, but you sure can't hide, because God is going to shake everything that you get into, because God needs to let you know who's on board with you. Jonah can be your child. If you got a child that's on board, that's running from the presence of God, don't want to be in church, don't want to be saved, don't want to live right, there's always going to be a shaking around that child. There's always going to be a storm around that child. And y'all ain't got to help me. I'm going to come there anyway. And you know why that's going to be a storm? Because he's supposed to be in one position in God, but he's running from the positioning of God, running from the purpose of God, and running from the presence of God. But God said you can't outrun me, because anywhere you go, I'm Shama, I'm already there. But I won't let you go. I won't give up on you. I'm going to keep shaking.
All right now.
Look at your neighbor and say, this storm is because of my Jonah.
This storm is because of my Jonah.
You got a significant other husband. I'm not going to bite my tongue. A significant other husband that's not living for God, that don't want to live for God. And you think it ain't going to be trouble in your house? Why Jonah on board? Are you hearing what I'm saying? He can cause trouble because he don't want to live right. He don't want to line up with what God is saying. And when trouble is surrounding him, guess what? Trouble is also coming upon you. Some of you are not causing the problem, but you are a part of the problem, because you're connected with a Jonah. Is anybody in here today that's connected with a Jonah? And it looks like storms are coming out of every place in my life. Storms are coming out of everywhere. On my job, over here and over there. Everywhere I look, there's a great wind. There's something blowing. There's something shaking me. And I hate to tell you, but the only way you can get rid of the storm is you got to throw your Jonah overboard. God said, I won't settle for anything else. I won't accept anything else except total disconnection from Jonah. Glory to God, because I got a purpose for Jonah. You got to hear what I'm saying. God was going to drown all of those people and they hadn't done nothing. Why should you perish? Because Jonah don't want to do the will of God. Because Jonah don't want to live right. Some of y'all might hold your finger up and we understand. Because it's going to get hot in here. But I can't let Jonah cause this ship to sink because I'm on it. I can't let Jonah pull me down because he don't want to live right. I can't play no more games with my Jonah. Jonah, you're going to have to line up or you're going to have to get out. Are you hear what I'm saying? See, God is raising up a people that'll take a stand. God raising up a people that will not accept Jonah. Jonah is running from the call of God. Jonah is running from the will of God. Jonah don't want to do what God called him to do. You know anybody that don't want to do what God called him to do? Don't want to be saved, don't want to live right. Y'all ain't got to help me. Don't want to witness. See, some of y'all need to be witnesses to certain people, but you just like Jonah, you go the other way because you intimidated of them. But God raising up folk right now that's going to call the devil the devil. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Don't tell you I can't go no. Why should everybody in the house suffer because of Jonah?
Yes, oh God.
Why should the babies be without because of Jonah? Oh, y'all can't shout now. Sometimes we have Jonah for the night and wonder why we're going through. Yes. Can't have one night Jonahs. That's why we go down one way and wake up the next day a different way. Cause Jonah on board. Somebody ought to wave back to Jonah. Somebody ought to tell me that time, Sean. I've been to too much hell with y'all, so you ain't done nothing but pull me down. This whole shit about to go. And did you notice anything? Jonah will always go to the bottom, and he'll put everybody down with him. Anybody ever experienced a Jonah experience? Hooked up with somebody, didn't want to live right, didn't want to serve God, didn't want to do the things of God, and all of a sudden you was at the top and wind up being pulled. I know you can't shout now. Because Jonah might be sitting next to you. Jonah's kids might be with you. But you better hear what I'm saying in here. God! Yes. It's getting ready to take Jonah through.
Yes, oh God.
And if you're connected with anybody that's going through, you're going to be affected. Let me say that again because you don't want to hear that. I say, if you're connected, you're going to be affected. It's impossible for something to go on in your house that don't upset you, that don't work your nerve. It's impossible for your children to experience something that don't have any effect, any bearing on it. It's impossible. If you connected to Jonah, you're going to be affected by what Jonah is causing.
Yes, yes.
Somebody scratch your head and say, I think Jonah might have. We accept Jonah because he paid a bill here and there. Because he helped here and there. We accept Jonah. You ain't got to shout with me. We accept Jonah because he makes us feel good. We accept Jonah because we fear being alone. You had a good reputation for you hooked up with Jonah. Folks were lifting you up. Now I wonder what's going on. Yes. Don't hook up with folks that's going down. Because when they sink, they're going to hold on to you. Oh, I feel like shouting out. Anybody ever seen a drowning victim? He ain't trying to pack the water. If somebody close to him, he pushing you down so he can get air. And Jonah will always cause the ship called life to sink. These men had false gods, but they had enough sense to call on. We got the real God and don't even call on it. The shipmaster said, I gotta go find somebody on here is the cause of the hell we going through. I'm asking you to do, look through your house, look through your life, look on your job, look in your church, and see who caused it.